Awesomeness.
Pokemon first released on the Nintendo Game Boy back in 1996 in Japan, and since then we have had many new games including various spin-off titles, and with a long series like this there are bound to be tons of cancelled projects. Some of them may have been just a quick thought but were scrapped almost instantly, while some of them may have made it far into development. I always find it fascinating to look at things like these because it's cool to imagine what these projects would have become. So let's have a look at 4 cancelled Pokemon games, but before we do, make sure to subscribe for plenty of more Pokemon videos and other Nintendo content in general, and let's get into the video. First up we have Pokemon Grey, the game that was originally planned to release after Black and White, acting as the third version. And people were of course expecting this because every generation before we always had a third version. For example, Pokemon Yellow, Pokemon Crystal, Emerald and Platinum. But Generation 5 marked a change for the series, which is of course fitting because this was a mini reboot for the franchise anyway. This all does come from an interview with Masuda, so it is all confirmed to be true. He also continues to say that Black and White represents opposing forces, similar to Yin and Yang. So of course if we did get a third version it would kind of contradict that, which is why they did actually do direct sequels to these. And of course since then we have only gotten these direct sequels, we haven't seen any third versions since. I also do think it's a good thing. I feel like they add a lot more in these direct sequels and take more time with it over the third versions. Of course a prime example for that as well is Sun and Moon. Ultra Sun and Moon did add a lot more to the game. But with Sword and Shield however we didn't get direct sequels, instead we got 2 expansions in the form of DLC, which probably will be the new route they take. Either way, it does seem like the third versions are completely scrapped. But the only game since Black and White that we haven't got direct sequels or any DLC to is Pokemon X and Y, which is actually the next cancelled game we are going to look into, because in a recent leak, and I mean recently because this literally came out last month, a few weeks ago, we got some source code leaked. And shout out to Centro Pokemon, I'll link this down in the description if you want to take a look at this for yourselves. But in this list we can see X and Y, the Hoenn remakes, then we see 2 extra files above the Alola games, and they are named Kalos Reserves, and interestingly there is 2 of them, not 1, 2. So this means that there wasn't going to be just a Pokemon Z, it was most likely going to be Pokemon X2 and Y2, or Pokemon XZ and YZ, who knows what the exact names were going to be. Either way, it is quite interesting and quite sad also, because I feel like the Kalos games were unfinished. They could have added a lot more content to them, and I think a lot of people felt the same way. But if we did get these games, things would be a lot different now. Obviously Game Freak still had Ultra Sun and Moon planned here as we can see, but the reason this was most likely cancelled was because of the Switch. Originally they were going to stick with making 3DS games, but when they saw the success of the Switch and with it being a handheld and home console system, they had to cancel one of these 3DS games, and of course it was Kalos, because we had Let's Go and then Sword and Shield. If they were to forget about Let's Go and stick with this original plan here, I mean obviously Ultra Sun and Moon would have ended up being on the Switch, which would have been a little bit odd because Sun and Moon's on the 3DS, and then the sequels would be on a completely different console. Or if they didn't want to do that, they would have to continue making games for the 3DS for 1 more year, and that means that in 2018 we most likely would have got Ultra Sun and Moon, and then in 2019 obviously it would have been Sword and Shield. So it is interesting to look at that way. I feel like 2018 was a bit late to continue making 3DS games, and Nintendo wanted Game Freak to hurry up and go on the Switch. But yeah, interesting to look at. It's a shame we didn't get these sequels to X and Y2. And let's get into the next game, which is Pokemon Pink, another game that was found via a leak. In this leak there was some code that said Yellow Package and Pink Package. Yellow Package obviously refers to Pokemon Yellow, and Pink Package, people seem to think this means a pink version was planned to release alongside Yellow. This is fitting because Clefairy was supposed to be the mascot for Pokemon before Pikachu, but it was changed because they thought Clefairy only really appeals to girls, and Clefairy was also Red's first Pokemon in the original Pokemon manga. When they changed it to the adventures, I believe it was Poliwhirl who was his first starter, but in the original manga it was Clefairy. So unlucky Clefairy, you were nearly the mascot of the biggest franchise in the world. And it's interesting to think, if Clefairy was the mascot of Pokemon, would Pokemon have been as successful if it wasn't Pikachu? I don't think it would have been, to be honest with you, but who knows. And last up we have probably the most fascinating one in my opinion, and that is a cancelled Nintendo 64 RPG Pokemon game. I'm not sure if this was supposed to be a mainline game or not, but it was going to be developed by Game Freak. However, it was scrapped because Masuda didn't like the idea of having a Pokemon RPG game on a home console. And some people think it was scrapped as well because it was being made around the time of Pokemon Gold and Silver. And if you do know your history of Pokemon, you know that game was literally development hell and they struggled to get that out. So they probably cancelled it to focus just on Gold and Silver. Either way, it is a shame we didn't get this game. Just imagining a Pokemon RPG on the Nintendo 64 in Kanto is so cool to me. Sadly, no screenshots were taken of this project. Maybe one day we'll get them in another leak, although I doubt it. So here are some pictures that Ron Durr made. I posted on my Twitter as well a long while ago. They look so cool, especially the Cinnabar Island one where he's riding on the Lapras there. But yeah, looks like we'll never get this game and the other 4 games that I mentioned. Unfortunately, it's a shame. But that's about it for this video. Leave a comment down below which games you wish came out. I personally wish X and Y 2 came out the most because I really love Kalos, but I think it needed so much more to it. And these games probably were originally supposed to provide that. Kind of similar to Sun and Moon. If Sun and Moon just released on its own and we never got a sequel, that game would have felt a bit bland as well. But we obviously got Ultra Sun and Moon, which made it 1,000 times better. So yeah, it's a shame we didn't get X and Y 2. But let me know in the comments which games you wanted to release the most. And leave a like if you enjoyed the video. And I will see you all next time.
Sunrise.